energy forecast for Monday, August 14th. So today we do have the moon moving out of her place of power in this Cancer energy that we've been in for the last couple of days. And we are moving into Leo energy, setting us up, preparing us for, of course, the new moon taking place in Leo that we will have on Wednesday, August 16th. So Mondays are ruled over by the moon. Having the moon in her place of power, even though she is kind of transitioning out of it, still brings on a different level, a different intensity of the feels. Of course, the last couple of days, we've been sorting through our feels in order for us to figure out what needs to stay, what needs to go, how it is that we need to build new foundations, structures, routines in our lives of taking care of ourselves, addressing our own particular wounds. And with the sun in his place of power in this Leo energy, with the moon in her place of power in this Cancer energy, they were really supporting Venus's star point that, of course, took place here yesterday on the 13th when the sun conjuncted Venus. And of course, this opened us up for initiating a brand new 584-day cycle where Venus is concerned. We closed out the last 8 years of particular life lessons that Venus wanted us to learn, and we are marking the halfway point in her retrograde. We are essentially pivoting, shifting our mood, our attitude, our perspective, our understanding into the higher realms of this warrior type of attitude that we have to have in order to get us out of this dark pit. So what I'm getting at is that we still have some emotional refinement to do. When the moon is in the Cancer energy, we're introverted, we're reflective, we're looking for, I'm going to say, more emotional understanding, stronger emotional connections and understandings and revelations. The Leo energy is where we get to kind of shift into wanting to share those particular thoughts, ideas, emotions, revelations with other people. Of course, the Leo moon is very confident, very optimistic. We're very bold, brave, and courageous. We are moving out of our comfort zones that, of course, we were all kind of stuck in with the moon in Cancer. And now we're just looking to kind of be seen and be heard in a different way. But I also want you to keep in mind that we're moving into the new moon energy here on Wednesday, which means that essentially we're moving into the dark phase of the moon. We're losing the light in the sky, if you will. Therefore, we are going to sit in some darkness and some funks and some darker emotions and ideas in order for us to kind of figure out what it is that we've outgrown, what we no longer want to experience, because what we are kind of resolving at this point is where we have to bust out of the old and where we have to break into the new. And of course, that is definitely going to be triggered and activated under the new moon in Leo on Wednesday. That is the first emergence point, if you will, with this new version of self. So we have 11 different aspects taking place here today. 9 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon is going to kick off the day with a positive interaction with Jupiter. Jupiter is about growth and expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's the wisdom and the knowledge that we've accumulated from our tough love life lessons. Now, this particular interaction is going to be a great one because we're moving out of being overly attached to the past, overly consumed with our thoughts and our emotions of endings, of closures, and we're starting to pivot on what it is that we want to build, what it is that we want to create. And of course, Jupiter is all about that. Again, being in a fixed earth sign, Taurus energy up until May of 2024, giving us a beautiful opportunity to restructure, re-strengthen, reorganize our physical realms, aligning more now with the higher self, with the vision, with the dreams, with the goals of the higher self, versus the circumstances, situations that our ego self has created that many of us are definitely done with and looking to make a change. So this particular interaction is definitely going to boost our spirits, boost our intuition as well, put us in a positive mood and attitude in order to think about the future. The moon is then going to trine, beautiful energy, with Neptune, who is retrograde in its place of power in Pisces energy. This is some water on water action. Water on water action gives us the opportunity to cleanse ourselves of the old, of the heaviness, of the weight, really kind of change, transform our inner state of being Neptune, of course, all about intuition, spirituality, dreams, visions, very much about our healing, very much about really tackling the here and now. Again, retrograde. We're not losing ourselves in a vision and a dream and a projection of the future. Instead, we're dealing with the nitty-gritty of the here and now, really kind of confronting some of the things that we've been avoiding. Now, this particular interaction, because it's a positive one, means that we are resolving some of those things, especially emotionally. Especially where fears, doubts, and insecurities are concerned. We are resolving some of those inner workings that have us kind of stuck, very attached to the past. We're breaking free at this particular point, and it's a beautiful thing. The sun in Leo energy, in its place of power, of course, is going to make a beautiful interaction with Neptune there shortly after. And so what we get here is a refresher, a renewal, a new infusion, if you will, of faith, of spirit, of inspiration, of motivation, a new vision, a new dream, a new goal, a new understanding of where it is that we're coming from, and a new understanding of where it is that we desire to go. This is definitely going to put a pep in our step. This is getting us heart aligned. This is getting us aligned with our higher self, channeling the visions and the dreams that our higher self wants us to pursue here in this physical realm, where our meat suit, our physical ego avatar, is ready to take action, ready to make moves, to propel ourselves forward with this new mission, with this new truth, with this new purpose. The moon is going to square off, get into the boxing ring with the North Node in Aries energy. This isn't going to feel so good. It is taking place a little bit closer to when the moon in Cancer is set to go void. We're not quite there yet, but there is some insecurities. There are some fears. There's some uncertainties. There's some questions that we have just when we were feeling this positive push, this forward movement to really let go of the past, really kind of see where it is that we've been blocking ourselves from moving forward. Suddenly, just when we're about to make some moves, just when we are about to resolve some pain and some trauma, now we're going to start questioning everything. Now, this is also an interesting dynamic because, again, reminder, the North Node in Aries over the next 18 months is positioning us to be a little bit more selfish, to kind of anchor into this new version of self, to put our own wants, needs, and desires before other people. And that totally goes against what the moon in Cancer wants to do. A reminder, the moon in Cancer has a tendency to immerse itself into other people's lives. We have a tendency to really want to take care of other people, save other people, show up for other people. The problem with that is that we abandon ourselves in the process of doing that. So this is a conflict because our natural disposition with the moon in Cancer is to show up and take care of other people while distracting ourselves from showing up and taking care of ourselves. And the North Node in Aries is like, hey, you got to cut that crap out. You got to stop doing that. You really have to kind of understand where it is that you need to create and implement some boundaries so that you have enough energy left at the end of the day to pour into yourself instead of pouring in to all of these other people. And may I remind you, you should always be asking yourself the minute that you want to interject in somebody else's life is whether or not you're willing to interrupt their karma. Okay, I'm going to let you sit with that for just a second. Every single time we position ourselves in other people's lives thinking that we are helping them, saving them, aiding them, enabling them in some kind of way, we are essentially robbing them of a very valuable life lesson. And we're going to learn all about how we are interrupting other people's karma in a very rude awakening. And that is likely going to be the trigger and activation that teaches many of us to stop bothering ourselves with other people and to redirect that energy within our own selves, within our own lives. The moon is going to sit across from, directly oppose Pluto, the great transformer himself, who was retrograde in this Capricorn energy, giving us a final hurrah, if you will, to really empower ourselves, to boss up, to take control of our lives, to disassemble, deconstruct some of the structures, foundations, systems that essentially aren't really supporting us and going forward, moving forward, making any kind of progress. We have to take a good look at some of the roles and responsibilities, some of the aspects of our lives that are essentially restricting us from moving forward, doing what it is that we need to do for ourselves. And again, Pluto is here to help us kind of transform our physical realms, to put ourselves back into a place of power. Of course, the Cancer and Capricorn energy, they sit across from each other. They represent, well, a lot of things, but they represent mostly safety, security, and stability. The Cancer energy wants to find those things in our emotional realm, in our emotional connections, in our relationship dynamics, in our home and family dynamics. The Capricorn energy wants to find those things out in the public life, in our reputation, in our career, in our finances. So there is a balance that we have to strike here. And let me just say, anytime that the moon is in Cancer, there's an intensity with the feels. And anytime we are interacting with Pluto, there's an intensity in our mental plane and in our heart space in order for us to unpack our fears, our doubts, our insecurities so that we can boss up, take control, and actually move forward. It's at this particular point in time that the moon is going to go void, of course. And of course, we do have an aspect taking place while the moon is void. Very interesting one. It's a positive interaction, which doesn't normally happen when the moon is void, with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who rules over roles, responsibilities, system structures, and foundations. Yep, you're right. Commonality with that Capricorn energy, mostly because Saturn rules over the Capricorn energy. But Saturn is currently retrograde in Pisces energy, trying to wrap up a 30-year cycle of kind of recognizing where it is that the old belief system isn't cutting it, where our old dreams, our old visions, our old goals are no longer in alignment with what it is that we want to bring to life. This is a realization, a reevaluation, if you will, of the roles, responsibilities, obligations, and commitments that we've made that essentially is sucking the life force energy out of us. And of course, Saturn always brings a little bit of a serious and somber attitude, brings us down a couple of pegs, but this is a positive interaction, which means that the moon, being in this Cancer energy, is ready to kind of detach ourselves from some of the elements of the past that we've been overly intertwined with, really restricting us, preventing us from making a lot of progress, any kind of movement forward. And Saturn is kind of illuminating, hey, here's where you got to kind of get off that bridge in order to start building a new one. If you do not have a desire to stay there, then we have to really kind of build a bridge in order to bridge the gap on from where it is that you're at to where it is that you desire to be. So we're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty of realizing what kind of structure is needed in our lives that is going to be strong enough to kind of house this next chapter of creation. So the moon will go ahead, lock into the Leo energy at 6:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, this is a welcomed shift, a welcome change. We're moving out of the emotional depths of a water sign into the fiery energy of Leo, which is inspiration, it's motivation, it's excitement, it's a new spark, a new fire, a new flame. It's exactly what we need right now, but also considering the fact that we're moving into the dark phase of the moon, you just have to understand that this is going to be more about endings than it is beginnings. And again, I'll have a whole new moon Leo forecast about this. There'll be a whole moon guide to accompany it. But at 23 degrees, the only beginnings, the only cycles that we're initiating are due to the things that are ending, the things that we're closing the door on. And of course, Venus just closed the door on the last 8 years of karmic life lessons, especially where relationships and self-worth were concerned. And so we do have a new version of ourselves emerging that we will fully anchor in and see under the new moon in Leo. Anyways, we have a couple of days of sorting through new emotions, new ideas, new inspirations, new motivations before we actually get there. We lock in again at 6:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10:57. We have an aspect with Venus. So Venus is still retrograde. She met her halfway point here yesterday on the 13th. Venus being retrograde in this Leo energy, she's now tapping into the dark feminine energy, the warrior type of spirit, in order to make a move, a pivotal point, a change of heart, if you will, where she starts to save herself. So Venus is going to trine, which is a beautiful energy. It's a gentle nudge, if you will, with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy, helping us out with this new identity, really tackling the issues in our mental plane, in our narratives, in our conditioning, in our heart space that is preventing us from truly standing in this new version of self. So this is a beautiful energy, and this really kind of helps us open up our heart space to a different type of perspective and angle of sorting through what needs to stay, what needs to go. So let me just break it to you down to you this way. Up until this point, we've been kind of whiny, cryy, little victimhood mentality. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Oh, poor me. Why is this happening? When is something going to change? Who's going to come save me? Blah, 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 blah. At this particular point in time, because of the pivot, because of her conjunction with the sun here yesterday, we are bold, we're brave, we're courageous, we're picking ourselves up, we're dusting ourselves off, we're a little bit more straightforward and direct in identifying who and what needs to stay, what needs to go. The attitude has shifted. So instead of looking at things like, oh, I don't know if I'm willing to let go of that. Maybe I will never find someone who loves me in that way. Or, oh, do I really want to let go of this horrible job that I absolutely hate that sucks the life out of me? But of course I need money, so I'm going to continue to go. Instead of like those types of perspectives and narratives, we are kind of a little bit more cut and dry. So anything that is not inspiring our heart space for progress, for growth, for development, we're kind of getting rid of. And it's a very quick process, and we're doing it out of strength. We're not doing it from a whiny, cryy perspective of complaining, of poor woe is me. We're like standing in our power, we're taking control, and we're like, you know what? That does not spark joy. Remove, delete. Okay, so this is a better mind frame, better attitude, better mood. So this Venus and Chiron aspect helps us to open up our heart space a little bit so that we can kind of reflect on some of the topics that have been a sore spot for us, that we've been kind of experiencing this dark pit about. And we're going to kind of reevaluate our needs, our wants, our desires for love, for comfort, for safety, for security, for happiness, for joy, for romance, for pleasure, for the beautiful things in life. This is our second chance. This is our revival. This is our renewal. This is our opportunity to rearrange and restructure our physical realms to support all the things that spark happiness and joy and safety and security and passion and desire, all of these Venus-rooted things. We get a chance to kind of wipe the slate clean, if you will. We get a chance to see the circumstances in our physical realms that we've built based off of ego, based off of fear, based off of restriction. We get to eliminate some of those things and start building a realm of reality, a life that actually looks good and feels good. So this is giving us a chance to heal. This is giving us a chance to open up in a new way, to stop being so defensive, stop being on guard. We're in our power now. Nothing can hurt us unless we give it the power to hurt us. We have a whole change in attitude taking place, and this is definitely going to put us in a different perspective and mindset on eliminating some of the things that are really holding us back and bringing on the funk. So now it's like we're able to see the potential in ourselves, in our ability to create a life that actually looks good and feels good. We're able to see the potential in other people if we've been having problems in our relationship dynamics. This is just a beautiful change of heart, a beautiful opportunity to open up our heart, a beautiful opportunity to really align with our heart and to start creating a life from our higher selves' wants, needs, and desires. So the moon, fresh in this Leo energy, is going to semi-square, create a little bit of a tension point with Mercury. Mercury, of course, rules over our mental plane, rules over information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, formulate ideas and opinions. Well, Mercury's in its place of power in Virgo energy, so we have the blinders on. We're really fixated on the smaller details here, and we're looking for problems. Why? Because Virgo energy wants to solve them. So we're very focused on, I'm going to say, being highly judgmental, highly critical, especially of ourselves, picking things apart, breaking ourselves down, if you will, all in attempt to build ourselves up in a much better way. Also, reminder, Mercury is slowing down. He's in his pre-retrograde shadow period. We will be seeing Mercury go retrograde on the 23rd. If you want a heads up on what that's going to be about, you should take a listen to the August energy forecast if you haven't already. And the zodiac forecasts are now available on YouTube through a membership. If you want to go ahead, listen to your rising and sun sign on where Mercury going retrograde is actually going to affect your life the most. But anywho, I digress. Basically, the moon interacting with Mercury in this way, we're not getting along. We're not on the same page. And a lot of that is because the moon is now in Leo energy. We're fired up, we're bold, we're brave, we're courageous. We want to be heard, we want to be seen, we want to express ourselves, we want to share, we want to collaborate, we want to go out in the world. We're extroverted. We just came out of an introverted energy with the moon being in Cancer. Now we're extroverted. Okay, well, Mercury, who's in this Virgo energy, we can't just take action and make move. We can't just, sit back and go with the flow. Nope, not in Virgo energy. We have to be meticulous. We have to be calculated. There's got to be a strategy. And right now, what we want to take action on, what we want to express, what we want to experience, it's conflicting with what Mercury wants us to do. Mercury wants us to get a game plan put into place so that we're not wasting time and energy. And so this is why we're having a little bit of a tension and a little bit of a conflict, because what we feel in our emotional realm that we want to do, our head is like, you know what? No, you're not doing that. We have to think this out. We have to explore all the different variables and possibilities. So there is a tension point here. The moon in Leo energy is going to interact with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Pisces energy, which is going to present us with I'm going to say, crossroads point. Maybe a choice, maybe a decision, but if nothing else, just an opportunity to see the two options, the two choices, the two decisions or directions very clearly. Now, this likely won't feel good because, we never really enjoy sitting on the fence about something. We want to just, align with it and stop thinking about it and just move on with it, but we're not there yet. This particular interaction is going to bring us down a couple of pegs, as Saturn normally does. The hype, I'm going to say, the hype that we're feeling, the impulsivity that we're feeling, the want, need, and desire to just go out and be entertained or do the entertaining, all of these storytelling, entertaining, fun, loving energies from Leo energy, it doesn't sound like a bad thing to do, but we have to be responsible. We have to have a certain amount of control. We have to think very, I'm going to say, clearly about what we're actually doing here and how this is actually changing how it is that we are feeling, how it is that we're being seen, how it is that we're projecting ourselves out into the world. Because the old version of self, that's gone, baby. We have shed that particular layer of skin. But the new version of self hasn't quite anchored in yet. So we're feeling a little bit spastastic, if you will. We're all over the place. Saturn is here to kind of bring us down a couple of pegs and say, you know what? Listen, you need to grow up. Yeah, okay. That childlike energy from all these Leo aspects, that's fun. That's playful. It's entertaining. But where's it going to get you? Because you're abandoning the hard work, the discipline, the willpower that you need right now in order to bring some of these ideas to life. So Saturn, military grandfather, tough love life lesson, is like, you know what, child? You need to sit your ass down and come up with a plan and a strategy so that you don't go buck wild here today and then have to pay for the consequences here tomorrow. So we're kind of getting a little bit of a reality check. The moon in Leo is going to go ahead and interact with Uranus. Uranus, the great awakener, of course, in this Taurus energy for quite some time, a fixed earth sign, which Uranus hates to be in. This is why we've been having some problems with the financial system, why we've been having problems with agriculture, with resources, with, earth patterns, weather patterns. This is why we've been having sudden shakeups and wake-ups in our political system, in our healthcare system, all of the systems that Pluto is here to deconstruct, disassemble, so that we can build something better in its place when we enter into the realm of creation of New Earth, which of course is around the 2025 mark. There's a lot of reasons for that, a lot of planetary reasons for that. We're not there yet, so we may as well just concentrate on the here and now. And what we got going on with the here and now is the moon in Leo interacting with Uranus in such a way that is going to provide us with some insight, with some clarity, with some breakthrough moments in our emotions, in our headspace, breaking free of the funk, breaking free of the darkness. This is a little bit of a glimpse, a vision, a dream of the goal that we are now wanting to actually manifest. This is a lot of clarity that we have been searching for. Now, that doesn't mean that the confusion is going to go away 100%, but we are gaining some puzzle pieces here, especially where our heart space is concerned, because now this is the leader of the parade. This is the captain of the ship, is this Leo energy. We have both the sun and the moon in this Leo energy, so you best believe that we are heart aligned. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Leo, semi-squaring, creating a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict with Mars. Mars is the god of war. He rules over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires. He loves Leo energy because it's a fire energy. He does very well in fire energies, but unlucky enough for him, he is in an earth energy. He is in Virgo energy. He is one sign away, which gives us this semi-square, creates a little bit of a tension because we're not on the same page. The moon in Leo, building ourselves up, building our optimism, building our confidence, building our boldness, our bravery, our courage, in order for us to emerge as this brand new sense of self, really standing in a new truth, a new passion, a new purpose, a new direction. We are ready to kind of break free. We are ready to stand in the spotlight. Of course, that will not happen until, I'm going to say, new moon, post new moon. But Mars is a little bit frustrated. Yes, there's a lot of productivity and progress taking place in our physical realms, especially we're sorting out our thoughts and our feelings are concerned. There's probably been more productivity and progress in that area of life than in our actual physical realms. Mars being in this Virgo energy is kind of held back a little bit because, again, the Virgo energy needs to focus on the problems in order to fix them. The Virgo energy needs us to think of, plan A, B, C, D, and E before we even make one move. The Virgo energy needs us to be calculated, needs us to have a strategy, needs us to think about the smaller actions needed in order to get us to the greater, grander plan. Mars, although down for that, we're not going as fast as Mars would like. This is where the friction and the tension, the frustration comes in. So we are a little bit, I'm going to say, hot to trot with this particular interaction. The tension, the conflict is coming out of the fact that both the sun and the moon now in this Leo energy wants us to push forward, wants to take action, wants to make moves, wants to stand out, wants to be seen, wants to be heard. Mars is like, you know what? I would love to do all of those things too, but, this Virgo energy means that I really got to slow it up a smash. And, I'm kind of losing my spark, losing my fire, losing my motivation, inspiration, and determination because of all the thinking. The Leo energy wants us to be inspired and motivated, wants us to be, seeing the sparks of excitement, of passion, of desire kind of reignite within us. The Virgo energy, though, we just think things to death, and therefore we suck the magic out of it altogether. So this is why there's a little bit of a conflict between these two interactions here, because we really have more energy pushing for us to kind of break free, for us to kind of make fast move, fast changes, to be bold and brave and courageous, act on impulse. Mars would be down with that, except for the Virgo energy that Mars is currently in. He knows he is not going to be able to make any kind of move without thinking it right to death.